Hello babes, welcome back to the channel. If you are new, welcome. So in today's video I'll be breaking down Sex and the City season 6 episode 13 in a podcast style format due to copyright, especially with the later seasons of Sex and the City. I won't be showing full clips, just small snippets and mainly pictures, so feel free to cook, clean, work out, or run errands while you listen. Now, I won't be doing the full episode breakdown because honestly, the episode was pretty boring. The main parts I want to focus on are Samantha sleeping with Richard while with Smith and the whole Miranda and Robert situation. So let's get into it. Welcome to Iconically Iconic. So the episode opens up with Carrie meeting Alexander, and she's clearly into him. The outfit Carrie had on was absolutely terrible. I hated everything about it. Anyway, she meets up with the girls for some perfume shopping. Carrie keeps annoyingly calling Alexander her lover.
Uncomfortable with my taking a lover?
While everyone is trying to find the perfect scent, Miranda is debating what fragrance Steve might like. Then Samantha, always being unfiltered, says, "Get him some Old Spice."
Like, just get some Old Spice and call it a day.
Not Old Spice. The way she said it had me in tears.
Why would she say that? Like,
she basically said, "Girl, get him something cheap. It goes with Steve."
she's got a point.
Miranda responds by saying Steve wears nothing and still smells good. First of all, yuck. I don't care how much you shower, and let's be so for real right now, Steve had very questionable hygiene because that lump of caca sitting in his drawers told me everything I needed to know about him and his nastiness. You still need to moisturize and wear fragrance. Some people actually enjoy smelling like old wet rags, hot dog water, and sweat, and offending the nose of everyone around them, and it pisses me off. Later, Miranda and Steve run into Robert in the elevator, and I'll tell you one thing, I know Robert had great hygiene and smelled delicious. Robert gives that he smelled like Creed Aventus. Excellent hygiene, clean fingernails, fresh cologne, not sloppy, just the whole package. Miranda and Steve attempt to converse with Robert, and he's not feeling it. The next day, Miranda takes the stairs to avoid another awkward run-in, but she still bumps into Robert. Feeling guilty, she forces Robert to listen to her apology, but he's not trying to hear it, and rightfully so.
Steve and I just fell back in love.
Oh. And so what was that, your little halftime show?
What? Not at all. I never thought that Steve and I would get back together, or I never would have started up with you. I hope you understand that.
Well, I'll try. And I hope you understand when you get my bill.
Your bill?
Yeah, my bill. For services rendered. You know, my stud fee.
Robert, come on.
No. Hey, it's cool. I got you singing. You're a busy working mother. Too tired to go out and eat, call who in the kitchen. Too tired to go out and fuck, call Robert.
That's not true.
Sure it is. Fast food, fast fuck.
You were not a fast fuck.
No, you're right. I wasn't.
This is where Miranda pissed me off because this man clearly did not want to speak to you, and you're forcing him to accept your apology, and then when you don't get the response you want from him, you want to play as you're somehow the victim. Am I saying the way Robert spoke to her was okay? No, absolutely not. But when someone does what Miranda does to you, you're not going to be nice because you're human and not a robot. And the thing is, he was ignoring her, but she felt the need to force him to hear her out because she wanted to ease her own guilt. Some people don't realize that an apology doesn't mean that you are automatically forgiven. And that's when you know if their apology is really sincere or not. If they understand, it will take time for you to forgive them, and that you may also never want anything to do with them. It means that they're sincere and they really do mean their apology. But a person who will get mad or feel a way about you not accepting that apology was for them and to help them feel better about what they've done. Robert had every right to feel the way he felt. Miranda cheated on him, let's call it what it is, by kissing Steve in a closet while she was still with Robert. and she knew before the kiss that she still had feelings for Steve. Instead of breaking things off when she knew she didn't have real feelings for him, she strung him along and wanted to use him as a prop. What I really don't understand is why the writers felt the need to turn Robert, an educated, handsome, kind, and financially stable man, angry and basically erratic over Miranda choosing her man-child Steve. Yes, men can flip and turn into different people when they're no longer with you. However, Robert never gave that. And back in the 90s and 2000s, they just couldn't get writing a black character right. And it was because there were white writers and there was never a black person telling them they were writing the characters for black people without our input, just from what they thought we might do or how we may act. Miranda treated Robert like a fetish. The moment she got her little Mimi and the black man fantasy out of her system, but who she truly wanted was Steve. But at the end of the day, Miranda never really liked men who were on her level, because I feel she was secretly in competition with them, and she wanted to be the one who ruled her relationship. And with men like Robert, that wouldn't work. They would constantly clash. After her run-in with Robert, Miranda tells Steve about it, and oh my god, she was so dramatic. I honestly can't. This is why she was a character I didn't like a lot of times. She tells Steve about her run-in and how Robert is so in love with her, but she leaves out everything that was said, but feels the need to mention to Steve how Robert said,
"No man has ever been in this deep,"
which was disgusting and out of pocket on so many levels. But I feel like Robert himself also felt like he was a fetish or some fantasy for her to fulfill. Miranda knew exactly what she was doing when she said that to Steve. Who is going to say that to a person that they're in a relationship with?
About how I said no man's ever been in me that deep.
What?
Nothing.
Steve.
Nothing. I'm fine.
And then saying, what? When Steve looked at her funny. If he told you about him running into his ex and how she made a comment about her being one of the most beautiful and caring women he's ever dated, and that he's never loved a woman like this, she would have been in her feelings for days about it. While Robert's tone may have been sharp, Miranda acting like Robert was some great danger to them. Girl, please, it was never that deep. Alec takes Carrie back to his place and she sleeps with him. The next morning he cooks for her, and later she tells Samantha about it. Samantha admits to Carrie that she's a little jealous. She misses being with an older man, someone who is more her speed. She also complains that with Smith, she feels like she has to teach him too much. This part of the conversation that I'm about to go into was repulsive to me. It immediately reminded me of the way some people date significantly younger partners because they want to mold them, and how young people who haven't had much experience dating will tolerate it because they believe it's normal and there are certain behaviors that people their age wouldn't tolerate. Now, to be clear, I am not saying Samantha was a predator, but if we're being honest, women can be just as predatory as men. And I am not about to celebrate a woman dating a man 15 years younger just because she's a woman. If you think someone is too young for you, don't date them. It's really that simple. The comments she made calling Smith a baby were unsettling to me, because that should have immediately been a turnoff and made you cut the relationship. Why are you with someone you see as too young and childish to the point that you're calling them a baby?
Smith, he's hot, but he's a baby.
He's almost 30.
Still, I swear, sometimes I don't know whether to blow him or burp him. I need a grown-up.
Smith tells Samantha about a party his agent wants him to attend, which just so happens to be hosted by Richard. One thing I noticed was that Smith was always looking for Samantha's approval and validation. It's one thing for you to want to know what your partner thinks, but it's different if you base almost everything on their opinion. And in my opinion, I think Smith may have had some underlying mommy issues, and it was why he gravitated to Samantha in the first place. It's similar to when some younger women date older men. Samantha agrees to go to the party, but conveniently leaves out that Richard is her ex. She clearly had ulterior motives. At the party, Samantha and Smith are waiting in line because Smith doesn't like to use his fame to get special treatment, but Samantha isn't with that. The second the bouncers recognize him, they let him jump the line, and Samantha's face immediately shifts. She was clearly insecure about Smith's rise in status. Richard comes out and personally invites them in, Well, Samantha, and then she tells Richard that Smith is with her.
Aren't you a sight for sore eyes?
Dude. He's with me.
Once they're inside, Samantha and Richard begin chatting as Smith is whisked off by some associates. Richard makes a remark about babysitting because she's dating Smith.
How long you been babysitting?
Said the man hosting the team posse party.
Which is hilarious considering he dated young women himself. Okay, granddaddy. Smith returns and asks how the two know one another. Samantha is annoyed, but she doesn't verbalize that to Smith. I also think she was embarrassed because of their age gap and the comments that Richard had made. Instead of telling Smith before they went to the event that she and Richard used to date, she admits it to him now.
We used to go out.
And then I fucked it up royally and lost the best thing I ever had.
And Smith, you were so handsome, but I swear you were sometimes an airhead. I would have been like, so that's why you were so eager to come to this event with me? To see this man?
Oh, hell no. I know that dress ain't got you thinking that kind of No.
Honestly, Smith needed a woman his own age, someone in his industry who has similar experiences and interests. He and Samantha didn't have much in common beyond sex. The following scene, Miranda and Steve are moving his stuff into his place, and surprise, surprise, Steve's TV is smashed in.
Surprise, surprise. Surprise, surprise.
Miranda believes that Robert is the one who smashed in Steve's TV, but I don't know, it seemed a little bit juvenile, and also when Steve went upstairs, it would have taken quite a while for him to do that and then be with those two women at the same time. Miranda feels the need to yet again tell him that Robert is crazy in love with her.
Steve, he's crazy in love with me.
Robert, you should have never gave her that damn cookie. He was acting like you were Jodeci. And I don't know whose idea it was to write this line in here that many times, but it was given soap opera.
Steve, he's crazy in love with me.
How dare you?
I highly doubt a man like Robert was struggling to find women, but I think they could have written Robert out of the script in a more dignified way, like giving him a job in another city, but instead they made him an angry stereotype the same way they did with Maria. Steve tells Miranda he's going to confront Robert, and one more time, Miranda.
Be kind. He's still in love with me.
I think this was the first time Miranda felt that desired, and having a man like Robert, who seemed to be madly in love with her, as she so put it, boosted her ego. However, when Steve goes to confront him, Robert is tending to some business of his own with two women, and Steve, instead of confronting him about what took place with his TV, he apologizes. Steve tells Miranda that Robert won't be bothering them anymore, and she clearly wants to hear he was upset about it. So Steve tells her what she so desperately wants to be true, because if he told her that he had two beautiful women up there, Miranda would have felt away, even though she didn't want him.
Was he very upset?
Now let's get to the mess with Miss Samantha. Smith catches Samantha and Richard leaving the party together. It's very clear they're up to something. Samantha tells Smith they're heading up to Richard's suite and ends things with Smith.
Can I come? No. No, Smith, you can't come. Look, this was fun, but where's it going?
Gorgeous?
You go play with your friends, and I'll go play with mine.
Not only hurting his feelings, but embarrassing him by telling him in a roundabout way that she is going to go sleep with this man, and dismisses Smith and runs to sleep with Richard, the same man who broke her heart and cheated on her. After she has sex with Richard, she suddenly regrets it. So she goes back downstairs where Smith was waiting for her to make sure she got home safe. Yeah, I'm sorry, but this was beyond unrealistic. No one would do this. You chose to make a decision as a full-grown woman to go be with your ex. You are now his responsibility, not mine. Samantha cries to Smith because she feels guilty and ashamed. Smith didn't even get a chance to vent his feelings and was just sitting there like a robot and took on all of Samantha's emotions and coddled her, basically.
I just want to make sure you got home safe.
I don't know what's wrong with me. I hate myself for doing this to you.
And now I will unleash my thoughts on this disgusting, disrespectful, and deplorable behavior. Samantha did Smith so dirty, and what makes it worse is how unrealistic this was, as I've stated before. No person in their right mind would sit around and wait while their partner runs off to sleep with their ex and dismiss their own feelings. Do you know how cold that is? And she saw how hurt Smith was when she basically told Smith, to run along now, I'm going to go have some fun and I don't care about your feelings. And because she came downstairs crying, you're telling me all was forgiven after what she did? There was no conversation or time apart. Absolutely not. I wanted a real reaction from Smith, not him being someone who was just willing to accept any and everything Samantha did, and who accepted any kind of treatment Samantha gave him because he loved her. This would have been an issue for anyone, love or not. And yes, I am aware this is a show because some of you nimrods like to come and make senseless comments because you can't handle criticism of fictional characters and dwell online all day and night and lose your marbles and come on YouTube and think you can say whatever you want because you're filled with nothing but bitter darkness and no one wants to be around you, so the only human interaction you get is online. If you don't like deep dives, character breakdowns, or your characters being analyzed,
That's too damn bad!
TV shows are created for us to discuss. They don't make them just for people to watch, turn the TV off. They want us to discuss it and hear our takes. It isn't a critique on the actors, and if you don't like it, you can always exit and leave the video. No one is forcing you to be here. But like I was saying, I am aware this is a TV show. However, this behavior is unacceptable. Point blank period. A lot of women watched this show and started acting like these characters and would even excuse problematic behavior because it enabled some of their own toxic behavior. Samantha went and slept with the same man who cheated on her all because she felt insecure, and I refuse to make any excuse for that kind of despicable behavior, no matter how much I like a character. And I love Samantha. If a man ever did something like that to me, he would be dead to me. There would be nothing he could say to me that would make that okay. People rightfully dragged Carrie for her cheating on Aiden, and she didn't even do it in the way Samantha did. She snuck around and hid what she was doing. It's wrong, but she didn't put it in Aiden's face like that. And before I wrap this video up, a lot of people excuse Samantha's behavior in this episode by saying she had issues with being vulnerable, her childhood, etc. Samantha was in her 40s, and while that may be true, it is never your job to fix someone else's emotional damage. That's what therapy is for. Relationships like this are draining. The person you are when you enter the relationship is not the person you are when you leave, and not in a good way. And it always affects your mental health. People with deep-rooted emotional issues and baggage often use the ones who love them most as their dumping ground for all the things that have taken place in their past. They test your limits, push your limits to see how much they can get away with. They'll apologize for a little while and then go right back to their old ways the moment they're back on your good side. In real life, that's how these relationships are. Don't ever let someone play in your face like this, because they're essentially telling you how little they value you and don't respect you in the way that Sam did in this episode. Love you first. And with that being said, this video has come to an end. Don't forget to comment, like, share, and subscribe. Also, make sure your notification bells are turned on so that you always know when I upload. And I will catch you guys in the next one.